Boy, do I have something to talk about in addition to the thing I want to talk about. Just let me click the technical Fuzima thingy here. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Abby Haggard. And when last we left our Viking on Tuesday, my birthday, everything was going really well. And then the most extraordinary glitch happened. I'm just going to hang on a second. I'm just fixing there. And I might get interrupted. The reason I'm mentioning this is that I might get interrupted. And if I am interrupted, I will have to stop and then I will restart, just so you know. So I bought this fabulous car a year ago, and it is the best car I've ever owned, and I love it dearly. And at the end of my day on Tuesday, after my wonderful event with all of you, I got a phone call from a bailiff saying that I hadn't paid for the car for the last 3 or 4 payments and they were going to repossess it. And so there was a very frantic couple of days because that wasn't possible. And I just got off the phone with the man I deal with at the car dealership, and it was an error. It was a mistake. It was a crazy thing that fell through the cracks in their administrative conversations with that bank lender. And I was the first casualty. So now I'm having these calls with. I just got off the phone, as I said, with the car dealer manager, and I'm seeing the bank this afternoon, and I'm waiting for the call back from the people who've set in motion this process where they were going to try and retrieve and repossess the car for no reason. So there we go. So well, good morning, Charles. Freddie, good morning. How wonderful that you've joined us. I hope you're okay. I hope you're okay. Everybody who's maybe watching and not commenting, Freddie's just dealing with something very sad, very, very tragic. And we love him, and we want to make sure that he knows that he's part of our family. So here we are. Anyway, today is episode 246. Can you believe it? And what my theme is, what my concept is that I talk about a lot in and around and involved in life as we know it, is this incredible project I've been working on and off and on since 2020. And I call it Pivotry. And it is a kind of a hybrid opportunity to coach and mentor and navigate people through something that we all do without really consciously thinking about it. And when we get stuck, when something difficult happens that kind of blindsides us, like the pandemic, for instance, or a tornado, or an accident, something completely unexpected that totally blindsides us, we forget that we have this ability because we never really talk about it. We never really examine it. And because we never examine it, we don't really know, A, that we do it at all, B, how we do it, what it is that we're able to do. So when I realized that this was kind of a snag, this was a snag, much the way this whole stupid bank thing with the car is a snag. It's a missed step in the understanding process, the communicating process. We thought we told everybody, we didn't tell you. We thought we knew, we didn't. And because we missed that step, every next thing that happens is a little off kilter. I was talking to a client yesterday and I said, have you ever gone camping? And my client laughed really hard and she said, you're not seriously going to tell me that you camp? And I said, well, I have camped. I've done it twice because I had to, and I learned everything I possibly could so I never have to do it again. So the interesting thing about camping is that if you move one tent peg, everything else is now off balance, off kilter, off focus. Just one tent peg. You move one, You have to move all the others. And oh, Freddie, I'm so glad. And you're very welcome. I've been thinking about you almost nonstop. Um, so when we have one thing happen to us that shifts us, we don't necessarily have time, because we're thinking, oh my goodness, what was this? We don't have time to remember that everything else has been affected. We have to remind ourselves that we need to go back and double check that everything else is okay. And one of the things that happens that we don't check is that we are still confident and we are still relying on our instincts. We're not second guessing. We're not self-doubting. We're not delaying our ability by investing in shame and blame and guilt and confusion and yelling. We don't check that we're fine because we fixed it. We fixed that tent peg. All right then. So on Tuesday, I spoke to 2 people and I got all the information I needed to do, and I sent emails out. And first thing in the morning, as soon as I was able, as soon as everybody's in office, I called the numbers I was given. And I spoke on the phone for 5.5 hours to different people in this process, getting the information, asking what I need to do, taking the next step, calling the next person, making sure they were going to do it. When you've done it, get back to me, let me know. And I did that all day. And at the end of the day, I had other things I wanted to do. And I almost started to try to do them. And I thought, you know what, like, that would be stupid, because I don't have, yeah. Oh, Patrick, what a lovely thought. Thank you for sharing that. Yes. What we forget is everything else has been nudged a bit. And we need to very quickly, because it doesn't take a lot, once we've dealt with the immediate, what is that? We need to go back and say, is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? Just to make sure that everything's back where it was before. So that's what happened to me on Tuesday. And how crazy ironic that it happened on my birthday. My girlfriend Carol, her birthday was on the 8th. She got an eclipse. I got a bailiff. I want to talk to the manager about this. So my topic today and my subject today that I'm so excited about, because I finally, in putting all the pieces together, and again, as I'm building the whole Pivotry concept, each time I do something, I have to adjust the tent pegs, right? So it's not just do this, do this, do this. It's do this, and then come back and do this, and what I had known from the very beginning, as I say in the description of today's video, I wanted to create an opportunity for us to get together on a regular basis. Now, we're not going to do it in person because everybody's scattered all over the place, but we can use Zoom or some other visual, how are you doing? And we can get together and mastermind. We can get together and it is so easy to do that if we can take the time out of our busy schedule. And if we can make it a regular habit to look forward to, like these videos. You know, there's only been a couple of times that I've had to not do these videos, even during all the rides to the hospitals and dealing with funeral things and all of that. I have said to myself, I deserve this. This is my future. This is their future. I have put my entire career on hold for the last almost 2 years. It's time to get my engines refiring and focusing and getting back my momentum and moving forward. But from the very beginning, I knew that this gathering together would have to happen so that the ripple effect of what we do here, what we do on our, periodically, some of us have phone calls, right? We want to spread that out. We want the different ripple effects to have a spreading impact. So I said to myself, I want to do a get together Zoom or whatever the technical thing is. And I want to call it Sunday Solution Models. And we'll do it on a Sunday afternoon, mid-afternoon. We'll pick a time, we'll pick a platform we do it on, and I'll come up with a theme. We'll be discussing back and forth what it is we want to talk about, why, and then we'll get together and we'll have an exchange. So that, I mean, it's wonderful, these videos, and I love it that you're commenting and I can respond, but I can't hear you and you can't respond back. You know, we can't have this group discussion thing that I want us to have, because many minds makes light the work, right? So the Sunday Solution Models group, I'm going to call it the Diamond Club. And the reason I'm calling it the Diamond Club is the diamond is my birthstone. And the diamond is who we are, all our many facets, and how we rotate and how we pivot in order to bring forth the best part of us to handle things, is the whole essence of Pivotry. So the Diamond Club is going to be something I set in motion. And I want to make it something that we can all afford to do, because I do have some expenses involved in it. So it's going to be a nominal amount, nothing that we can't really afford. And I'm going to have somebody technical working with me to make sure I don't fall off the side of something while we're in the middle of this. So I haven't even had that conversation yet, but it's on my list. And so I wanted to, because all of a sudden, you know, 2 weeks ago, no, last week, episode 241, I had a lot of viewers. Episode 242, I had more viewers. Episode 243 and 244, I went from having a nice, you know, collective, intimate group watching my videos to 300. 300. Today, just from Tuesday, we're at 240. So something has happened. I've either joined some group or some trip mechanism has happened. And now there's a growing momentum. Now the time, I think, is right to start getting our wheels turning about belonging to the Diamond Club, figuring out how we participate in the conversations about the need to understand the Pivotry process. And one of the things that I want to mention in this, I wrote it down because I was seeing something. I saw two things this morning. A friend of mine who does a lot of business mentoring was saying that when his kids call him, he's got 4 ranging in age from college to, when they call him to say, "Hey, Dad, you have a minute?" He had gradually realized over time that sometimes they wanted advice, and sometimes they just wanted a hug, and sometimes they wanted him to just listen, and sometimes they needed instructions, right? And so he has gotten into the habit of saying, "Absolutely, which dad do you need?" And I thought, oh my gosh, thanks, Rob. That is exactly what I talk about when I say we have all these hats. We have all these hats that we wear, right? Send you, yeah, perfect, Freddie. Yes, I want you involved. I will definitely send you a Zoom link. So I'm thinking that's kind of the right time. I think your instincts are exactly right. Mid-afternoon, whether it's 2:30 or 9, you want to stop before it's supper time, that kind of thing. And so, yes, I definitely will. So oh my gosh, Charles, your niece got into a car accident. An 18-wheeler tire fell off a trailer and hit her car. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That would be the most horrifying thing to see coming at you. Oh my gosh. Oh, Charles, thank goodness she's okay. Dear God. And so, you see, this is exactly the kind of thing that we would bring up in Diamond Club. We would be talking about, there's a tent peg move. What else do we need to take care of? And what else does everybody in her immediate circle need to take care of? Because that tent peg is suddenly front and center. Everything else is just set aside. But if the wind picks up, the tent falls over, right? So we have to be able to go and get the part of us that's good at it, whatever the it is. So what I am doing with Pivotry itself. So the definition goes like this. A pivot is a turning point, right? That's a turning point. A pivotal moment is a turning point moment. It's when all the stars align and Shazam, wow, a pivotal moment. Pivotry, Pivotry is the technique we use, not to pivot, but to get ahead of the kind of pivot we need to not just survive, but to thrive, to be on it, to be on top of it, to own it, so that we're not the one hit by the 18-wheeler tire. We see it coming, we dodge, even if we have to drive into a ditch. We have the driving skills, and we are present. We're not distracted driving. We're watching what's going on, so that we can pick the good driver part of us, the slalom skier part of us, to do an evasive maneuver, or at the very least, hunch down turtle so you don't get whiplash when something hits you. Close your eyes, brace yourself. These are Pivotry skills. These are Pivotry strategies. Most importantly, Pivotry is a solution model. And the solution model is pick the part of us that is good at that. Don't pick the exhausted, crying, I just want to stay under the bed for an hour part of us. That's perfectly legit to have. That's not the part of us we need right now. We need this, and then we can be that. And so Pivotry is strategic. It's not a knee jerk, like somebody hits you, the doctor hits you with that little hammer on your knee, bonk, and your leg goes forward. Okay, that's a knee jerk, literally, survival mechanism that brain knows how to do. Pivotry isn't that. Pivotry is, I see this, and I know how to get ahead of it. I know how to sneak up on its blind side. I've done it before. On Tuesday, I was talking to you about remembered response training that I have done with tons of people over the years. And it is not that you have to be a bullfighter or a warrior or a sword dancer or a magician. You don't have to become something new in order to thrive. All you have to do is go and get the part of you that knows how that works, and allow that part of you to manage the moment. And what I teach, what I train, what I navigate you through is the getting process, the going and finding and getting and retrieving and choosing which one, the how this is done. The other thing that I saw this morning from a very good friend of mine, he was talking about, nobody asks how our heroes manage to show up. How do they do that? At what point have they just kept showing up without readjusting all the tent pegs? At what point does the tent fall over? Because they simply didn't have the time. They had the ability, but they had focused all of that ability on saving lives, on pulling people out of burning buildings, on directing dangerous traffic and dangerous road conditions, on protecting and serving us, on listening and answering and letting people know that they are heard and seen and valued. Every one of our everyday heroes are our everyday CEOs. A chief decision maker is a mom, a dad. A chief decision maker is the customer service rep. The conversation this morning, just before the video, with my financial guy at the car dealership, I answered the phone and he said, "Abby, I can't tell you how sorry I am." And I said, "Well, you could try." He said, "I'm looking at your file. Okay, so A, that it happened at all is wrong, and B, It was your birthday. And he said, I'm going to have to do something magical to make it up to you. But in the meantime, I can do my job to make it up to you, to fix all the stuff that is the fallout ripple effect, all the other tent pegs that got dislodged. Because in this moment that happened to me, because there was a glitch in the connection, in the understanding, in the taking the new information and applying it to my file so that there wasn't a glitch, I did all the things that I was supposed to do. Somebody else did all the things they were supposed to do. Somebody else didn't. And that had a ripple effect. What my car dealership manager is saying, you don't have to pay, you're not supposed to have to pay the NSF charges. You're not supposed to have to pay the bailiff fees. You're not supposed to have to pay all this stuff. The whole thing is an error committed way up the line. And he said, and I wanted to call you first thing this morning to tell you that we are not going to allow you to carry that, the shoulder that burden. We are going to take care of that. You are our customer. We love you and we value your business. And we can, you know what, we can afford that. And I said, well, that's wonderful. And he said, I can't get you a better birthday. And he said, but at least I can undo some of the insult and injury. So that man is a solution modeler. That man understands how important it is to fix the part where the pants are on fire and then go around and make sure that everything else is all right. He's that guy. We all need to be that guy. How you become that guy is what I know. That's why Pivotry is so powerful, so important. And so many of you who are watching these videos, who get on these calls with me, you have been part of the defining process. We've talked on the phone. I've talked about, you've talked about your stories. I've asked questions. We have had a conversation. I've said, can I include your story in the book? But it's a book collection. And in the book that is the stories of my people who I've talked to, I want people who hear this, stumble over this information, and on the off chance that they say, oh, that couldn't work for me, I'm not Abby. I would never be able to do what she does. She's so different. The reason for the book is to say, it's not just me. Meet all the people that I've interviewed so far. So far. I did about 25 interviews, and then COVID, and then sickness, hospital. All the first round interviews are there. Now, as soon as book one, I finish editing book one, I get to go back and start going through and tidying up and clarifying and making notes on the interviews that I did. And then the second call, because there's always two calls, right? The first call is do the chat, go away, digest it, organize it, come back to fill in the missing bits and get the picture you want me to use, and then get you to sign off. So that's coming next. However, at the same time as that, because I think it's consistent, I want to launch Diamond Club. And I want Diamond Club to be a get-together, a meeting of minds, an opportunity for people to get to know each other the way you're getting to know each other, during these videos, and you're talking to each other and you're responding to each other, which is wonderful, because that's the whole plan. We create this network of ripple effects, right? And it is so important when we see something happen, as what happened on Tuesday. Did I mention it was on my birthday? Did I mention I didn't get an eclipse? So when these things happen, we not only have our life friends, our family, our immediate go-to, you'll never guess what happened to me today. We also have this tribe. We'll have the Diamond Club, to be able to sign into as a group to have the conversations and then do our weekly, what do you think about this? And so that is the primary reason for today's video. Who wants to be part of Pivotry? Who wants to get inside the workings, the mechanism of the heart of this, which is the diamond? Who wants to be in there, assessing it and discovering skills and talents and strengths that we'd forgotten we had? And if that works as a template, well, then we can see it. We can see it branching out, can't we? We can see it becoming a thing. So Diamond Club is going to be the way we do it. It's going to be the vehicle. And as I said, I don't want it to be an elitist. It has to cost $1 million to be part of it, because that's not the point. The point is it just has to cover its minimal costs. And I think that's going to be really doable and really easy. And I'm going to talk to my tech guru Billy about the smartest, most sensible way. See, there's a lot of platforms, Zoom and everything. Yes, we also have to factor in the fact that there's me involved in doing that. And periodically, as we have all experienced with me, first time around, every time, what happened? So I want to make sure that we have safety zones. If something glitches, we have a way of saying, no, it's okay, we can fix it. Hang on, and we don't lose the thread. And and by the way, when something happens, that it's not a frantic, panicky thing. It's a focus, right? Pivotry, find the person that can fix it within us, fix it, and then laugh about it, so that we can move on. So one of the things that I would like you to do today, as you are thinking about, as you're watching this video, and as we remember what we talked about on Tuesday, why do we celebrate? Why do we celebrate? What is it, even in this immediate instance with Freddie, we are celebrating everything that has changed our lives, that continues to update, upgrade, polish who we are, because of the influences of people and places and events that come into our path, come into our lives. Those things that come to us, that we interact with, that we value, that sometimes cause struggle, sometimes cause joy, those things become ingredients in our recipe. And no matter what happens to those people, to those moments, to those events, they have become part of us. They are an added jewel in the crown, and they deserve to be celebrated. We deserve to be celebrated every time something new is added to who we are. We are evolving and expanding. So when something happens that is tragic, that is dangerous, that is an pivotal tent peg, and we have to set everything aside and deal with it, that we could set everything aside, that we did deal with it, that's something to celebrate. That we not only survived the moment, we are growing and thriving because of it. That's a celebration. Telling each other those moments, not the long, involved depth of the story, not the deep details, because that's for your memoirs, that's for your stories and your videos to your audiences. But for us, together, for me, telling you what happened to me was the end of the the domino effect. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, the initial domino was a missed step in communications. 10 dominoes back. At my end, just my path, just my tent, I was the last tent peg. I had nothing to do with that. That specifically, directly had nothing to do with me. However, boom, 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 boom. Hello, Abby. And I handled it the way I handle everything. What's the name? What's the number? Can I call? How else do I communicate? What do you want me to do? How do I do it? Tell me how you want me to do it, and what platforms and tools you want me to use. Tell me all the instructions. I will do it. 5.5 hours later, I get my first response from the car dealership. 5.5 hours later, everything I have been asked to provide was sent. Today, I wait for the response. Today, I get back in touch with the car dealer. Today, I get in touch with my bank. Today, we resolve it. A tempest in a teapot, a massive tent peg shift. Boom. Okay, so deal with that, get it upright, move everything. So this week, after I deal with my bank, their process with the car dealer, then after that, everything I had to set aside, now we go back and say, fix. So I'm going to have a busy weekend. And Charles, as he was saying, his niece and her family are having a busy weekend. Freddie, how many candles were supposed to be on that cake? 3 score, 4 score? Well, just the one, Freddie. Just the one. We don't want to create a fire hazard. How many candles on the cake? 1. So the object today, and I think it's going to be a fairly short video, so God bless us all. The object today is to decide that you'd like to find out more about Diamond Club. And I will talk more about Diamond Club as the days progress. Next week, I'll know a lot more about Diamond Club. I know it's a group. I know it's part of the entire Pivotry community, the project itself. I know that it's a category of activities and tools that I can provide, and it's going to be the doorway, the portal to Teresa. Teresa, how wonderful! Thank you, beauty. Thank you. How lovely that you stopped in. You know what? We need to talk, because this project I'm working on, this is something that I want to share with you. And I think you have an incredible set of skills to contribute. So we are going to have a conversation. We are definitely going to have a conversation. Big heart, big heart. I will find you, and I will find you down. I will hunt you down like the beauty you are. So our plan with Pivotry, it's a concept, it's a teaching moment, it's a set of tools, it's books that define what it is, give you new habits to develop and use, tools that make that easier to do. It's a getting together in different formats on different platforms to experience and enjoy the understanding and awareness. One of the things that I'm saying about it, when you as soon as you say a pivot is a turning point, a pivotal moment is a turning point moment. Pivotry is a strategic technique. It is not a reaction running behind the bus. It is figuring out where the bus is going and cutting it off before it gets there. That's Pivotry. How we meet and master and own and thrive is Pivotry. What we use to achieve that is the quality within us that is best suited to do the job. Of all the qualities, So as my business advisor pal says to his kids, which dad do you need? We can now say, which which me do they need? When I show up at work, when I'm asked to provide, in this situation where I was the last domino in the tumble, which part of me do I call on to make the solution happen on my terms? Which part? I got a lot of parts. Which one? And how the selection process is made, how we go and get it, how we use it, in the way that, if you go back and listen to the Tuesday video, in the way that remembered response training works. You know, the cut to the chase on it is, you don't have to have murdered somebody to realistically portray a murderer on stage, on film, in a book. You have to know how to activate your ability to remember the right feelings and the right purpose and the right intention that we can substitute, that look like and sound like and feel like a thing that a violent person would do. I'm going to teach you that. I have taught many people that. And the power that you feel, the empowerment you feel when you realize that nothing anybody throws at you, nothing that suddenly an oven throws at you, is beyond your ability to meet and master. Nothing. That sudden, there is no word to describe how that feels. That is what Pivotry is for. That is what Pivotry does. That is what we are going to do in this project, in this program. And Diamond Club is where we get to say, you know what? I want to do this on a regular basis in a mastermind group. I want to sometimes bring something to say, and sometimes I just want to listen. Mostly what I want to do is I want to be part of a thinking. I want to be part of a hive, and I want to get the benefit of it, and I want to contribute to the benefit of it. That, I think, is going to be pure, pure magic, and I can't wait. So with all of that said, wow, it's early. Class is going to get out early. I want to talk about what's going to happen next week. I don't want to talk about what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the day. Pouring water on flames and fires. Oh my God, it's raining outside. Pouring water on flames and fires. Thanks, Mother Nature. So here's what I would really love for you to do, for all of you. What I would love for you to do is keep the list to 3, right? Top 3 things, outcomes you want, what you want Diamond Club to do for you, what you want a regular, it's not one-on-one, it's going to be a bunch of ones of us together, but interacting, Zoom, right? What 3 things? And just hang on to those ideas until next week. Because clearly what we're going to have to do, because I know we all have different things, is we're going to have a list, what the subjects are that we want to address. Essentially, the subjects all come to the same kind of, there's a hurdle moment. And we can identify that and clarify that. And it gives us kind of a big picture thing. Okay, so that is my ask of you. I ask a lot of you. I ask you to make these videos a priority. I ask you to set aside your time. I ask you to give me your attention. I ask you to respond and connect and give me opinions, and so we can all share. And now I'm asking you to do this for us, for Diamond Club, how we are going to create the framework for it, how we are going to make it really, really workable and doable and exciting to look forward to. Okay, so homework for next Tuesday is your top 3, and we will see how many overlap. Okay, so between now and then, I'm going to go and rescue my dignity, my name, my bank account, and my car. And then I'm going to take care of the impossible before lunch, and then this afternoon, I don't know, something. So between now and next Tuesday, think about the exciting opportunity we have. Diamond Club. I'm going to make it really easy to get the structure, get the platform, get the management of it, how we make it work, figure out what our roles and responsibilities are, all of that stuff. And it's going to be something I have been looking forward to for a long time. And I love the concept of diamond. The diamond is the heart of this. Diamond is my birthstone. Diamond is the many facets of each one of us. I think it's exactly the right image, that we are diamonds, and therefore we are a club. And I think it's going to be amazing. And I think it might even be the little engine that keeps Pivotry moving and flowing and growing and evolving. So beyond excited. Anyway, thank you for today. How many candles on the cake? Freddie Moore. Thank you for today. Thank you for the contributions. Thank you for the listening. Thank you for being you. It means everything. And I don't say that lightly. Okay? So the drill, be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. And I will talk to you and see you next week.